So in today's video, we will be assembling our hex bolt and hex nut. So I went ahead and already went to the assembly tab, and then I also already inserted both the hex bolt and the nut into the assembly. So my next step is, first thing, we always need to make sure to fasten or fix one of the objects to the origin. That way, when we start applying the assembly constraints and mates, it doesn't turn the degrees of freedom and the objects and parts kind of all over the place. So I'm going to look at the isometric view, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move the bolt because I just want to verify there's my origin right there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix kind of the center points, but the top head of the bolt right here, kind of that center point, to the center of the origin, okay? So I'm going to go over here, click on this fastened mate. I'm going to click on this head of the screw, but I'm going to make sure that mate connector, which is that little cylinder with those lines, that mate connector is in the center. Click once. Now I'm going to rotate it down, and I want to make sure, again, that the mate connector is mimicking and going to be parallel to the top of the bolt head. So, yep, that looks good. Oh, nope, not that one, but this right here, that looks great. I'm going to go ahead and click to make that stay, and it should constrain them together. Confirm, because that looks good. I'm going to close this window, and I'm going to go ahead and check, and yes, that looks great. I'm also going to just add an extra little way to kind of fasten something down to make sure that it's not going to be moving, since this is kind of like our base object, right? I'm going to go over here, and you can either right click on this part, right? Because when I'm even clicking on it, you notice it's highlighting this hex bolt in yellow. So you could right click the part over here, or I can actually right click the object right here, and I can click on fix. Okay, that just again adds a little bit more of a constraint that is on there. Okay. And it looks like it's having a little bit of an error, so I can delete that and we will see. And if you notice, it has been fixed. So great. I kind of placed it on the origin first to make sure that it was nice and centered on our origin, and then I went ahead and fixed it. Okay, and then I went back and I deleted that fasten mate just so that there wouldn't be any conflicts. So the next step is I'm going to go ahead and place this nut on the bolt, and we're going to first use this cylindrical mate. I'm going to click on here. For the cylindrical mate, I'm going to select this top portion of the bolt, and I'm going to make sure again that that mate connector is in the center, okay? And if I think about it, I want this to line up with this top part, but I want it to line up so that it's in the center. So I want to make sure, you guys notice it's a little bit tricky to see, right? There you go, that's in the center. So I'm going to click to make that stay. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the isometric view. And that looks good. Kind of look at it straight on. I can even click on the top view. Awesome. Click the green check, and now if I even kind of turn it, you'll notice, and if I try to move the nut, it spins, and then it also moves up and down, okay? And if you notice, yeah, it's gonna go into the hex bolt head, and that's just because this program doesn't necessarily tell you when things are clashing, that those are other 3D modeling softwares. Okay, so now our next point is we want this nut to actually screw or spin along the threads that we have. So we're going to use this screw relation. And one key thing, if you hover your mouse over it, you'll notice and you'll read that you need to have a cylindrical mate. So That's a big reason why we created the cylindrical mate first. You cannot use this tool if you do not have the cylindrical mate, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click on the tool. I'm going to click on the cylindrical mate over here, okay? And then I need to now enter the revolutions, the distance per revolution, okay? Which means when it rotates one time around, how far down does it move in a linear direction? And if you think about it, that's actually the pitch of the threads. So I'm going to type in 1 divided by 28 because that was our pitch dimension from before. And I'm going to click on the green check and let's try to rotate it. Look at that. There we go. When I spin it, it's going down. Awesome. And there it goes all the way down. And then if I spin the other way, it brings it back up. And again, I'm just clicking and holding on the bolt, and I'm just rotating my mouse in one direction and then rotating it in the other direction. And there is our hex bolt and nut assembly.